Well, here we are again. Gotham Knights has made it to episode 2, which, given how the first episode turned out, has to be an accomplishment of some kind. And you guys made your voices heard. The analytics on that first video were good, so I'm back too. But before I talk about the episode, I'm gonna say something that might alarm you. I think the CW's Gotham Knights might just be the funniest show on television. I know what that sounds like. I know what it sounds like, but I swear to you it's true. I'm not saying the show isn't awful. Oh, believe me, it is. But goddamn, nothing else I'm watching right now makes me laugh like this fucking thing does. If it was actually intended to be a comedy, this would be a work of genius. Sure, it's not, but just imagine for a minute. It's really hard to explain, and yeah, it's as bad as Batwoman was in many ways, but Batwoman's awfulness was just pure agony to suffer through, whereas with Gotham Knights, the unimaginable ineptitude on display is somehow transcendent, and it becomes not good, but weirdly fascinating, and a freaking riot. This is like MST3K, just without the puppets roasting it the whole time, and I think I can handle that part if you'll indulge me for a minute. Episode 2 begins with Harvey finding the Batcave. Beats me how. He just parades a whole bunch of cops down there. He asks diverse female Alfred if she knew about this place, and she says she didn't, which naturally begs the question, how the hell did they find it then? If she didn't know about it, and Harvey didn't know about it, the only explanation, I guess, is that Turner revealed it to them when they arrested him last week, which, given what a dumbass Turner is, I could definitely see happening. Or maybe Harvey just rested his drink in the wrong spot and found it by accident. Frankly, we can't rule out either one. But regardless, the point is, they found the Batcave. So I assume that the GCPD will now confiscate the Bat iMac and the Batmobile and whatever else is down there, right? Because if that stuff is still there the next time we see the Batcave, I will not be surprised at all. Come on, I know what show I'm watching here. So the Batcave is being raided, our heroes' lives have fallen apart, they're fugitives from the law, being hunted by every crooked cop in the city, so that can only mean it's time for one thing: shopping. That's right, we go to some clothing outlet after hours where the Gotham Knights, God help us, are trying on makeup and accessorizing and screwing around, and Turner, who's waving a flashlight around even though all the lights are on, being the massive buzzkill that he is like, guys, come on, only take what we need. And also, we're gonna pay the store back for all this stuff. But Harper, who took time out of running for her life from the crooked cops to dye her hair blue, because CW, sees this as striking a blow against the child labor that made these clothes in the first place, so she's okay with stealing. And not only that, but Duella doesn't like Turner being this boring. Join the club, sweetheart. So she kinda gets in real close to him and asks him where that cool guy who crashed the prison transport went, because she'd like to play with him. Wow. I figured the writers were gonna do this at some point, but it's the second scene of the second episode. Maybe they assumed they weren't gonna be on the air that long, so they'd better hurry up, but holy shit. It appears that we have another love triangle in the works. In addition to Turner, Stephanie, and the surly plank of wood, we also have Stephanie, Turner, and Duella. Why the hell not, right? Batman's son, Joker's daughter, it writes itself. And sure, the very idea of this is blasphemous on its face, but this is the kind of stupid schlock the CW was built on. In a weird way, it kind of feels like a return to normalcy. And hey, not for nothing, but it's another potential straight couple. Those are an endangered species these days. Then the alarm goes off. They all wonder who tripped it and naturally look at Turner. And yeah, it probably was him, but he's just been standing there. You guys are the ones who have been running around touching everything. So they run out the back and are greeted by Carrie, who's responding to a burglary in progress. What? The alarm went off like 10 seconds ago. She would need to have been literally waiting by the door to have gotten there any sooner. We're not even past the cold open yet. I can't use the plot says so meme now. Also, if Carrie is supposed to be the Robin of whatever tripped out alternate universe this is, why doesn't she have a Robin costume? Last week they had her in some generic black bodysuit. Here she's in freaking street clothes. I know this show is cheaper than a $2 hooker, but if you can't even get the Robin color scheme right, then why is Carrie even there? Aside from Hollywood's ongoing ginger side, I mean. Knock that shit off. So Carrie pulls a Kate Kane and lets them go, but none of them are wearing gloves, so their fingerprints are all over that place. The cops are gonna know who broke in, but luckily for them, this plot point is never mentioned again, so it doesn't matter. Some talking head news guy tells us the mayor is appointing a task force headed up by Harvey Dent to hunt down the fugitives who killed Bruce Wayne, which has not been proven yet, so you'll want to put the word allegedly in there somewhere, homeboy. I may have been watching too much cable news. We go to the clock tower, where they're complaining about their lack of leads on whoever framed them. Harper thinks the whole Court of Owls thing is stupid. What a coincidence. I think putting bright blue streaks in your hair when you're trying to blend in is fucking stupid. But Duella thinks they should all be shaking in their stolen designer boots about those guys. And then we cut to the character assassination of Stephanie Brown. Holy moly, that was fast. She's in school, and the surly plank of wood is talking about how Turner's obviously guilty because the money to pay Batman's killers came from his bank account, and Stephanie is all, well, if he's not guilty, then why did he ask me to use the Bat iMac to hack into the bank and find out who did it then? Stephanie, you're in a public place, surrounded by classmates, any of whom could be listening, and you just admitted out loud, where anyone could hear you, that you committed a crime and are an accessory to fugitives who are wanted for murder. Weren't you supposed to be the smart one? Help me out in the comments down there. Isn't Stephanie Brown supposed to be, like, intelligent or something? Because, wow, that is definitely not a thing anymore. But screw it. At least she's funnier than her comics counterpart could ever hope to be now. I laughed so hard at this I almost pissed myself. So Steph goes up to the clock tower, which according to Turner, only he and Stephanie know about. Really, Turner? Only you two and no one else? What about the people who installed the electronic lock on the door and gave you the passcode? What about anyone in the school who has ever passed by the door to the clock tower? What about anyone who can see the clock tower from outside, seeing as how it's built into the school? And while I'm on the subject, what kind of fancy prep school for rich kids has an old abandoned clock tower attached to it anyway? Jesus Christ. So Duella surprises Stephanie with a knife and also mentions how Steph is rocking that skirt because a love triangle would be boring if it's just two girls fighting over a guy, right? Harper is not impressed with the hacker chick, though. Weird, since Harper is the one that we know for sure is into chicks. Stephanie Brown? Aren't you the daughter of that quiz show host? Are you gonna make a joke about that, Harper? Because I guarantee you she's heard them all. Stephanie tells them that everything in the Batcave has been impounded. Yeah, we'll see. Then we go to police headquarters, where some detective is trying to find Officer Transphobe from last week, so she calls his phone, and they hear a ringing sound from a box that was just delivered there. Harvey cuts the box open, and inside is the phone and Officer Transphobe's organs? His head? I don't know, it's not shot very well. Then they try calling the rest of Officer Transphobe's team, and they hear phones ringing from a bunch of other boxes. What do you think the odds are that Gwyneth Paltrow's head would be in one of those things? Just curious. Our quote-unquote heroes watch a news update about this from the clock tower because they have a TV up there for some reason. Duella says the Court of Owls must have killed these assholes for screwing up and killing them. Also, they were transphobes, so they totally had it coming, am I right? And Bruce had the owl coin, so he must have known something about this. But how did they find out what? Then Carrie walks in like, hi, I'm in this scene too. By the way, Bruce kept journals on all his cases in a secret hiding place. That's another thing they recycled from Batwoman. Holy shit! Nothing personal, writers, but if Kate Kane, Ryan Wilder, or God help me, Mary Hamilton show their faces on my screen at any point during this show, then I'm tapping out. Turner thinks this is a terrible idea, but what the hell, the episode needs a plot. So yeah, they should go ahead and break back into Bruce's office so the production team doesn't have to build a new set and get those journals, which is totally something a guy who grabbed a steering wheel and crashed a police transport would do. Oh my god, him and Duella are already eye-f***ing. It hasn't even been 15 minutes. Harper points out that they will have doubled security in that place since their last break-in. So instead of one easily avoidable security camera, there'll be 2? Did the writers think that would be a challenge, or is Harper just really lazy? But that won't be a problem anyway, because Bruce had a private elevator that bypasses all security, such as it is, and goes right into his office. All they have to do is steal a Wayne security vehicle and sneak into the parking garage, and hope that no one sees them doing it, I guess. But security is pretty lax in this place anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. Cut to the mayor bitching out Harvey for the task force having no leads on this case. But the other detective, who I'm assuming will not be a transphobe because she's black and a woman, says they do have one. Somebody was hacking into all the banks while Turner and co were on their way to Blackgate, so it couldn't have been them who did that. Turner's one phone call was to Stephanie, so they round her up, and given how she couldn't wait to spill the beans about her criminal involvement earlier, you'd expect her to crack like a fucking egg, but that's not what happens. Harvey seemingly got her on a platter here. You're a computer science whiz, you're the only one who it makes sense would have done the hacking, which carries a 5-year minimum sentence, by the way, so how about we help each other and you just tell me where Turner is, huh? But apparently Stephanie still has a few functioning brain cells and knows that if Harvey had any actual proof, she'd be in handcuffs right now, so no dice. Which means the future Two-Face just lost a game of mental chess to a teenage high school kid. No wonder Misha Collins looks so f***ing bored. But Stephanie's victory is short-lived, because then the surly plank of wood she admitted her crime to earlier shows up at the station and starts spilling his guts to anyone who will listen to him. Wow, Steph. Maybe you shouldn't have been so loose-lipped and blabbed very incriminating secrets to literally the first person you talked to, huh? Dumbass. Then we cut to our heroes having already stolen a Wayne security car and breaking into this completely empty parking garage. And wouldn't you know it, Turner's passcode to Bruce's private elevator still works! Because the guy whose office the elevator goes to is dead, the guy who's wanted for his murder has the code to get into it, and there's still some really valuable stuff in there, but come on, we don't need to change that! Not when we've got all these other security measures! I'm sure they're around here somewhere. Harper hacks into the security system and tells Turner and Carrie they're good to go. Okay. I thought Stephanie was the hacker, but now she's not. So maybe Stephanie isn't the Felicity, she's the Luke Fox, meaning that her job can just be done by anybody the plot needs it to be done by. I'm not sure if that's a promotion or a demotion, come to think of it. So the second the elevator doors close, Duella's like, okay, now that the buzzkills are gone, how about we just hawk the fancy watch, split the money 3 ways, use this car to bypass the GCPD checkpoints, and get the hell out of here. Harper's tempted by this, but since Cullen's only character trait right now is being trans, he's staying put, because he finally got to choose his name, and damn it, he wants to clear that name. Okay, I'm gonna be nice for just a second. Don't get used to it. I think the Duella actress might be another Rachel Scarston, in that she actually has a personality and is easily the most engaging person here. Not saying the character is good, but if she's in a scene, she's the one you're paying attention to, and I call that a good sign. Also, Cullen showed himself to at least be a loyal person with some kind of moral code here. So there's potential, however insignificant, that at least one of these people might not turn out to be a loathsome asshole. And characters like that were in very short supply on Batwoman, so I'm counting on you, asshat McGee. Cut to Bruce's office, where all the lights are on for some reason, and the "your bat is dead" thing is still on the window, because redressing the set would cost money and be like work and stuff. Carrie opens up some secret compartment where Bruce stored like 20 journals and also a bunch of bat weapons. Turner does not think to take any of those. Shocking, right? One of the journals is open to an entry where Bruce is speculating that Joe Chill murdering his parents may have been connected to the Court of Owls somehow, and not just that, but Bruce also suspected that the Court of Owls murdered his great-great-grandfather and had been trying to kill the Wayne family for centuries. But then he decided that the Court of Owls wasn't real and it was all just made up, even though he was investigating them when he was killed. So the world's greatest detective was obsessed with this secret society for God knows how long, spent years investigating them, had actual physical evidence pointing to their existence, only to decide that they were a bunch of bullshit, but maybe not, except they kind of were? Yeah, we're far enough into the video now. Hit it. Bruce goes on to say in the journal that he found no evidence that they existed, even though we all saw the f***ing evidence last week. So is the owl coin just not a thing anymore? Harper tells them over the comms that all the security cameras just went offline and the security staff, apparently there is one after all, has notified the GCPD. Then, the doors open, that Talon dude from last week walks in, and here's where it gets funny again. They run into the next room and try to hold the doors shut so he can't get in. He's a grown-ass assassin. They're like 120 pounds between them, so naturally, it's too much for him to overcome. To their credit, don't think I'll be saying that too often with this show, Harper and Cullen jump out of the car to go help, so good for them, I guess. But the second they do, Duella jumps in the driver's seat. Everyone abandoned me, no one would ever come and save me, so bye, bitches. She peels rubber out of there, cops start pouring in. How did the cops get there before the security staff did? I don't f***ing know. But now Harper and Cullen pretty much have to take the elevator or get caught themselves. Up in the office, they're trying to do a T2 thing where the sword is getting stabbed through the door over and over, but it's the CW, so he keeps missing them, of course. Harper and Cullen help block the door while Turner takes some katanas off the wall, because Bruce has a bunch of those, and sticks one through the door handles. I still don't know why Talon can't get through that. Now they're really screwed. Talon on one side, cops on the other. Their only choice is to fire their agents. I mean, go out the window. Yeah, that's it. Carrie at least had enough brains to grab some of the bat gear while she was also packing up all the journals, so she fires the grapple line thing, I guess. It's like the gadget Batman used to escape the museum with Vicky Vale in Batman 89. And lucky them, the plot says there's enough grapples for 4 people, despite Batman only having one sidekick when he died. So Carrie saves their asses again, and they escape. So Duella goes to person who does illegal transactions or whatever, who's gonna pay for Officer Transphobe's watch. But there's a catch. The buyer who wants the watch was willing to pay a fortune for the person selling it. So, shocker, the shady asshole dealing in stolen valuables was untrustworthy. Who could have seen that coming? Cut back to the others, who are remarking on what a twist it is that someone named the Joker's daughter could screw them over like this. I know, right? And then, in the biggest twist of the episode by far, Turner actually proves himself useful by deducing who the buyer of the watch is because of the owl engraving on the back of it. Part of me just wants to run the plot says so meme again, but given how useless Turner was in the first episode, I don't think they'll be making a habit of stuff like this, so maybe I should just take what I can get. Duella's right in the middle of telling the guy with a gun pointed at her what a dumbass he is for trusting the Court of Owls when he gets stabbed to death from behind by Talon. Not sure how he got there so fast, but whatever. She runs for it, locks herself in the car, but he puts his sword through the engine like it's made of butter, so she's not going anywhere. Then he starts trying to break in, but the same sword that effortlessly cut right through a thick wooden door and a fucking metal car engine block for some reason can't break a window. You figure it out. So he stabs a hole in the gas tank instead and lights a fire. Why are the most important parts of this car so much less resilient than the rest of it? That seems like a weird design flaw. Duella can't get out of the car. She burns herself on the door handle on the inside even though the fire on the outside of the car has only been burning for a couple seconds. And she doesn't think to just cover her hand with her sleeve or something because the plot doesn't say so and she's an idiot. But suddenly, the cavalry arrives and a fight scene ensues with Carrie and Turner, yes, Turner, taking on the Court of Owls assassin. And it's fucking hilarious how they shot this because it's so goddamn obvious when it's Turner and when it's not, because it's only the Turner actor when they do these slow-mo close-ups where all he has to do is this. And then they cut to a wide shot where the stunt guy they swapped in is twirling the sword around like a fucking boss. Then it's back to the slow-mo close-ups, and he's like... They weren't even trying to hide this. Yeah, guess what? Turner can fight now, apparently. Who knew? He was a total jabroni in several fights last week, but I guess being good at fencing translates to ninja shit now. Because between Turner and Carey, they somehow managed to not get killed here, so Talon is not off to a great start. And Turner does get cut, I think, but there isn't one drop of blood, so I'm honestly not sure. But the fight ends when Carey shoots Talon with an explosive crossbow bolt that blasts him back like 20 feet. With that kind of force, his ribcage should be ground to dust, but somehow he's only winded. Welcome to the CW. So they pull Duella out of the car and run away on foot while Talon gets up and doesn't chase after them, doesn't use any of those throwing knives he's packing. He just stands there, watches them leave, and does nothing. So it's like the Batwoman thing where she was always letting criminals go free, but in reverse. Now I really want to do the plot says so bit again, but I'm gonna wear the damn thing out at this rate. So, long story short, because the writers have no original ideas, they just keep on recycling old ideas from the other show that didn't work the first time. But this time it's backwards, so that makes it new and fresh, right? No, it doesn't. It's dumb, you should all feel dumb, and the audience is dumber for having watched it. Back at the clock tower, Duella has enough decency to thank the others for saving her ass after she ditched them. Genuine appreciation? Thanking people for their help? Didn't see a lot of that on Batwoman. What are you up to, writers? But Harper and Cullen totally would have left her ass to die, and they tell her to thank Turner instead. So the soundtrack plays music to ship to while Turner and Duella have a moment. Mother of God, I can't believe we're going there already! I mean, I guess them doing it with their made-up fanfiction son of Bruce instead of Dick, Jason, Tim, Damien, Babs, or whoever else makes it a little easier to stomach. But holy shit! Imagine getting your grubby paws on the Gotham Knights IP to do with as you wish, and this of all things was your first priority. Way to step outside your comfort zone, CW. Anywho, Turner explains to her that they may all want to kill each other, but if they stick together, maybe they have a shot at keeping the Court of Owls from doing them in first. And yeah, if the rest of the Court of Owls is as incompetent as Talon was tonight, I think your odds of survival are pretty decent. So Duella can't help but be impressed with Turner's mad sword skills that he just pulled out of his asshole like magic, and turns out that after Bruce adopted him, he insisted that Turner learn martial arts and swords and stuff. Strange how that wasn't a thing when he was getting his shit pushed in last week, but hey, if I've come to expect one thing from these writers, continuity sure as hell ain't it. Then we cut back to Stephanie confronting the surly plank of wood for ratting her out, only that's not what he did. He told the cops that he was the one who hacked into the bank and is taking the fall himself to protect her. Okay, that's admirable, I guess. Stupid, but admirable. I don't see how it possibly holds up to scrutiny, though. He doesn't know how she did that stuff, so once they question him, there's gonna be obvious holes in his story. And also, doesn't him confessing to this mean that he'll be going to prison for 5 years minimum now? Harvey said that's what the penalty was for a crime like this. I'm just saying, writers, I better not see the surly plank of wood walking around free next week. Oh, god damn it. But who the hell are we kidding? Details like that don't matter. The only reason the writers played this card was so they could drag out this love triangle too, even though Turner and the surly plank of wood have about as much charisma between them as those boxes of severed heads from earlier. And then the surly plank of wood just walks out. Yeah, for some reason he's not under arrest for all the illegal stuff he just confessed to. What the f***? So Harvey wonders why someone would break into Bruce Wayne's office only to steal a sword, and Detective What's-Her-Name suggests that he ask the antiquities dealer who just got impaled by one. The asshole mayor tells diverse female Alfred to express to the Court of Owls that finding Turner is his top priority, but that would go a lot easier if he didn't have to keep playing cleanup for their hitman. But diverse female Alfred reminds the white male character who's really the boss here, and exposits how the Court of Owls has been pulling the strings for for years to keep him in office. So yeah, diverse female Alfred is evil. The only surprising thing about that is that they waited 2 whole episodes to tell us. But then we have some genuinely surprising stuff when Turner apologizes to Stephanie for getting her involved in this and thinks it's too dangerous for her to continue helping them because he's concerned for her well-being. This is so bizarre. I hate to keep bringing up Batwoman, believe me I do, but I can't not do it. It's the same fucking writers. I became so jaded by 3 years of Batwoman where the characters were petty, mean-spirited dipshits who treated each other like fucking garbage that when I see something like this, I am honestly caught off guard. I don't even know what to make of it. The X factor here, I imagine, would be the absence of Caroline Dries, but who the hell knows? Either way, the show is still terrible, but at least I don't hate every character I see. Yet. So Stephanie wonders how Talon got in and out of the Wayne building so easily, and Turner notices that the last pages of the last journal have been ripped out, and they both wonder who could have possibly done that. Well gosh, let me think for a second. Only 2 fucking people even knew those journals existed. One of them's dead, and the other one literally had the journals in her hand before she gave them to you. You know, Turner, being inexplicably good with a sword doesn't mean you get a pass for being stupid, and even if it did, you would have used up that pass last week and then some. And sure enough, Carrie ripped out the pages, and the last line on the last page is, "What will happen when Turner finds out the truth?" Good question, Bruce. But a better question would be, given your Nielsen ratings, when he does, will anyone even notice? What could this terrible secret possibly be? Probably something really dumb. Like, maybe Turner isn't really Turner. Maybe he's actually Damien, who Bruce hypnotized and brainwashed into thinking he was someone else. Forced him to forget all that League of Assassins stuff and then gave him to foster parents to protect him from the Court of Owls, or so he could live a normal life or some bullshit like that. Hopefully not, though. Given how this show is treating actual comics characters like Stephanie Brown, I prefer Turner being a totally original character, because no one's gonna give a rat's ass if the writers butcher him. But hey, to my own amazement, he was allowed to be useful this week, even if they did bend continuity over the table to do it. So maybe there's hope for this guy after all. Well, writers, I'll give you this. Episode 2 was powerfully stupid and laughably inept. But it was better than the first one. There's a weird thing happening here where characters' flaws are being acknowledged as flaws, and they can admit when they screwed up, and they try to help each other out of basic human decency. The writing is still embarrassing, but for whatever reason, the hateful, narcissistic, mean-spiritedness of the writing on Batwoman has been toned down here, which I think is why I'm able to just relax and laugh at a lot of this shit when I couldn't back then. Like when the deadly Court of Owls hitman is thwarted by a bunch of idiot teenagers, I can laugh at that now. When Stephanie Brown casually blurts out the crime she committed in the middle of a crowded hallway, I can laugh at that now. I laughed my fucking ass off at that part. Batman's son getting shipped with the Joker's daughter? Sure, it's wrong on every conceivable level, but hell, it's a potential straight couple at least, and oh my god, isn't that a novelty in this day and age? Honestly, compared to the trash these writers spent the last 3 years shitting out, this episode was probably above average. For them, I mean, not in general. God, no. So this wasn't really plumbing the depths of Batwoman bad, this was just run-of-the-mill CW bad. Unfortunately, run-of-the-mill CW bad is still pretty fucking bad. So naturally, we've still got a cast of characters acting like absolute goddamn idiots, except when the plot needs them not to be. It's just funnier to watch them do it now. But between that, a plot that's facilitated almost entirely by all the holes in it, the bargain basement budget the show is obviously made for, the hilarious action sequences, and attempts at acting I can best describe as special, I'm still having fun with this show. I mean, Lord knows it's not anything even resembling good, or even semi-competent, but I have the biggest laughs I get all week watching this thing. And at this stage of the game, if you can't get some major satisfaction in watching the CW absolutely burn itself to the ground with ridiculous content like this, then why even own a TV at all? Bring on episode 3! Thanks so much for watching. While you're here, do all the other YouTube things, ding the bell icon and follow my social media so you can always be notified when I upload new stuff. The links are down there. Thumbs up the video and leave a comment. It really helps out with the algorithm. Share the video, subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll be back with more soon. So take care, stay tuned. I'll see you next time.